Hi everyone, Doug here. Welcome back to yet another board game channel and yet another episode of Mansions of Madness, the second edition, the What Lies Within scenario. This is going to be our last episode, the thrilling conclusion, because yeah, I figure we've got 3 turns until that thing gets out the door. We found out what lies within, and it kind of sucks. Alright, we have 2 options to win the game. One is to defeat the Dark Young, who has 55 hit points. Not going to happen. So instead, we are going to try to perform the ritual. We have 4 of these that we need to activate, each one with one of these grotesque stones, all of which are in Preston's possession. So he has to get stones to the other 2, and then they need to spread out through the fire. That's going to be a big problem. And do, well, still not sure exactly what we're going to need to do. If we need to make some kind of skill check at the interact tokens. Well, we'll just see if we can pull it off. So we'll just go straight into the investigator phase. Alright, we are going to start with Preston. He has the stones. We've got to get him somewhere close to our other 2 investigators so he can hand them out. So for his first action, he is going to move. Going to move 1 space here. For his second action movement, he's going to go through that secret passage and pop out in the lounge. Pops out right there. He does take a face-down damage because of the fire. He is the least damaged, so I think we'll probably send him through the fire. So that's his first action, moving. For his second action, he's going to move again. 1 and 2. Then, we're going to switch to Bob and Kate. Alright, Bob, first action, he will move 1, 2. Second action, as a trade, he is going to take one of the grotesque statues from Preston into his possession. Then, Kate will do exactly the same thing. First action, move 2. Second action, grab another one of the grotesque stones. So that leaves Bob and Kate with 1 stone each, Preston with 2. Leaving Preston with the 2 because he's going to have to go through more fire to do the 2 off to the right-hand side of the board. Yeah, he's got the least damage. So yeah, I vote for him to wade through the fire. So that very quickly ended our investigator phase. Now, yeah, the Dark Young is going to get to move, isn't he? Time for the Mythos phase. And here we are. We didn't actually interact with the app at all that turn. Now, moving on to this. Yes, the fire spreads out of control. We do have to do that. Not sure if it's in shot. No, I'm going to have it spread through the ballroom wall and out to the pond. Is that, yeah, because I don't think we need to go through the pond to get where we want to go. So fire spreads. Oh, good. More monsters. With a terrible cry, a terrific beast crashes through the mansion's window. Spawn a Bayaki, as indicated. Back in a moment. Alright, here we go. Bayaki. It is flying, so it can move through impassable barriers, which the only ones we have are way over in the pond on the other side of the mansion. With membranous wings and flat-webbed feet, this creature flaps and flops along awkwardly in the ground, but with sinister grace in the air. So, it is spawning here, which does mean when I have the opportunity to do it on the app, it will get 1 damage from the fire. Yes. And now the dark one moves 1 space toward the exit. Boom. Then, if it is not in the same space as the exit, it attacks each investigator within range. There are no investigators within range, so yes, it moves 1 additional space toward the exit. That's unfortunate, but the Bayaki moves 3 spaces towards the investigator within range with the lowest strength. There are no investigators within range, so it cannot move toward one. So, no investigators within range. Instead, it moves 3 spaces towards the nearest investigator. That'll be 1, so it's going to take another point of damage. 2, 3. So it manages to get into the space with all our investigators, but it forfeits its attack because it just wasn't quite fast enough. Before we move on, though, we are going to tell it to do 1, 2 to the Bayaki for the fire it just passed through. Right. Didn't get to attack, but all 3 investigators do now have to do a horror check for the Bayaki. So we choose it, resolve a horror check. The Bayaki tears at the ground with its claws, creating a horrendous sound. We do a will check, and we need 2 successes. Alright, first up, Preston with 3 will. He blocked. Oh wait, if you pass, you block out the scrabbling noise. Alright, let's hope we don't have to look at the fail effect. Bob has 4 will and the Holy Cross, so he gets 5. No, he only got... Okay, he's going to spend the clue. He's got 1 clue to make 2 successes, to avoid everything possible. Kate has only got 3 will and unfortunately has no clues or focus or anything, so it's just going to be the result of her roll, which was 3 clue icons, which means she failed. If you fail, you must cover your ears to block out the sound, suffer 1 horror, and become dazed. Well, dazed is not a big deal. It just prevents her from using clues until the end of her next turn. She has none to use. She does, however, get some horror. Hey, it's a minor shock. No additional effect. Flip it face down. Does leave her with 3 sanity. But we're still standing. Now that will end that mythos phase. Now we need to spread out, and that stupid Bayaki's in the way. Right. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to spend a couple of actions taking down the Bayaki. Could try to evade it. I guess we should try to evade. We can't afford to waste any actions at the moment. So, okay, let's start with Preston, who is going to attempt a move, which means he will have to do an evade check with the Bayaki. Fingers crossed. He is focused. Oh, the Bayaki claws and snaps as you move past. Suffer 2 damage. Negate with agility. So, he will get to move. He just might get hurt because of it. Preston's agility is 4. So he negated 1. He has no clues. He could spend his focus to change that, but I want to keep his focus in case he needs it to do stuff with the interact token. So he will take 1 damage. Broken arm. You cannot feel your arm at all. You think that this might be a bad sign. God, I love how understated some of these cards are. If you ever have more than 2 items, drop all but 2 of your items. Well, we have no choice. He is holding on to those stones. Keep wanting to call them I'm going to call them statues. Even though they're called stones on the card, they're statues. So he's going to drop everything except those 2 statues because they are the only important thing right now. So, swoop, pile of stuff. However, he does still get to move. 1 and 2. He takes a face down damage for entering a space with fire. For his second action, he's going to move 1 up to there. Yeah, that's it for Preston. Now, let's see what Bob and Kate can do. Okay, here's the plan for now. Assuming we are able to evade the Bayaki, I'm going to have Kate dash off toward the ballroom to use her statuette there. Bob, well, we do have another, what's in shot here? Yes, we do have another place to use the statuette there, but this horrible thing in the way. So I'm thinking our best bet is for Bob, assuming, again, he can avoid the Bayaki, to duck in here until the Dark Young has moved through. It's going to take a couple of turns, and actually if it slowed down to attack us, that wouldn't be so bad. So, yeah, I think maybe we're just going to have to let Bob go in. If he gets hurt once more, he'll become wounded. The only thing that does is prevents him from moving twice in a turn. We're just trying to get him in there, so it won't be very far. And I suspect it will slow down the Dark Young as it passes through. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to take risks. So, let's do Bob first. He is going to try to evade the Bayaki. Oh, should have gone with Kate. The creature seems to be watching, waiting for you to move. Test observation. Okay, his observation is 4. Not quite as good as Kate's, but still surprisingly good. We need 2 success. Come on. 1. No clues, no focus. If you fail, you do not notice the creature's slime, and you slip and fall. Flip 1 damage face up, then suffer 1 face down damage, and forfeit your action. Yep. Alright, here's all his face down damage, so we will shuffle that. Flip it. Grim Resolve. The injury is serious, but you will not allow it to slow you down. The stakes are too high for that. Now he becomes focused, and we flip the card over. Oh, that would have been good for his last action. Then he takes 1 face down damage, which I believe gives him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's his limit. So we get rid of all the face down damage, and unfortunately he becomes wounded. You cannot perform the move action more than once per round. And if he suffers 7 more damage, he is in fact eliminated. Now, he didn't actually get his move action, because he forfeited it, which means for his second action he can try again. So let's give that another go, see if he can evade this time. At least now he's focused, so he might be able to get past. The Bayaki reaches for your leg as you attempt to get away. Agility 2. He's only going to get to roll 2 dice because he has a ruptured eardrum, which drops his agility by 1. So he's only going to get to roll 2 dice. Come on. Nope. Total fail. If you fail, you stumble to the ground, suffer 1 face down damage, and forfeit your action. Nope, Bob failed us utterly. Alright, let's see if Kate can get any better at this. Alright, Kate will now attempt to evade the Bayaki. Bayaki reaches for your leg as you attempt to get away. She will be testing her agility, needing 2 success. At least she's got 3, but nothing to... Nope. Failure. If you fail, stumble to the ground. Right, 1 face down damage. Leaving her with 2 health. Forfeit action. So we're going to try again, because it's our only option. Bayaki screeches and you hear the sound echoing behind you. I'm going to test her will of 3. We need 2 successes. Okay, now she did it. If you pass, you bat the creature aside. And she gets to move 2 into the fire. Yeah, she's going to become wounded next turn. And that is all our investigators are able to do. That didn't go very well. So, the monsters get to go. Bob's in trouble. Alright. Here we go. Yes, the fire spreads. It's just going to spread out by the pond, which we are never visiting again. The corridor in front of you twists and stretches on forever. It is impossibly long. Impossible! Okay. Each investigator in a hall or alley, well, that's just going to be Bob, suffers 2 horror, get to negate with will. Okay, that's fine, because he gets to roll 5 dice for his will. 4 plus 1 for the Holy Cross. We're trying to stop 2, which he did. Alright. The Dark Young moves one space towards the exit. Thum. Then, if it is not in the same space as the exit, it attacks each investigator within range. There is no investigator within range. Bob's in the next room. So, it moves one. Yeah, we're not going to... We need to be successful next turn, otherwise it guts to the exit and we lose. The Bayaki moves 3 spaces towards the investigator within range with the lowest strength. Well, Bob's the only one within range because he is unable to evade. So, it's attacking. The Bayaki lashes out with a tail like knotted rope. Strength check. We just need 1 success. Alright, here we go. And you got 2. If you pass, you brace yourself and weather the battering. Now, Bob is going to need to do a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. I'm going to guess that it's the Dark Young. Yes, having taken a peek at the monsters, the Bayaki's only got a horror rating of 3, while the Dark Young has a horror rating of 7. Which is not hugely surprising. So we are going to resolve a horror check with the Dark Young. Okay, the giant presence of the creature leaves you with no respite from its alien nature. Suffer 2 horror, just like that. It's going to put him up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, heck, I forgot about his paranoia. He should have had to flip a horror face up last turn because he ended his turn within range of another investigator. So this is the face down stuff he had last turn. We'll just see. Minor shock, okay. Now the 2 new horror. Oh, another minor shock. We're in luck. And Acalculia. You cannot seem to put the letters or numbers in their proper order. You know you once had this skill, but it has deserted you. Roll 1 fewer die when resolving a lore test. Alright, something has gone very badly in Bob's brain. And he can't read letters or numbers. Alright, that concludes that. And now, what I think is probably going to be the final turn. Let's see if we can at least get partly done. Call it a moral victory. No, there's not going to be a moral victory. We're doomed. Alright, we're going to start with Preston because he's actually going to get to do something with that interact token. And I'm interested to see what happens. So we're going to choose it. This is one of the locations where the ghost instructed you to place a statue. You can interact only if you have the grotesque stone unique item, which he does. So as an action, focus, we can place a statue. We will do so. Oh, yeah, there's a puzzle. You set the small statue in the corner of the house. Discard a grotesque stone unique item. Done. You need to draw the correct symbols on the statue, and your investigation is thorough enough to give you a good idea what is needed here. Tap to attempt the puzzle using lore. His lore is 2. If you have evidence, well, he did before he had to drop it all because of a broken arm, You may perform one additional puzzle step while attempting this puzzle. Okay, let's see what the puzzle is. Alright, just zoomed out so we can see this on camera better. Okay, playing Mastermind again. We only need 3. We've only got 2 guesses. Well, let's start with green, yellow, blue. There is 1 correct symbol there. Okay, and it's in the wrong place. So let's say red, white, green. I think the red and the white are in the right place there. And it's just the green that I guessed incorrectly. Well, that's it for oh wait, that's only 1 turn. Preston can, for a second turn, yes, attempt again. So if I'm right, it's that, and either the yellow or the blue. Ha! Got it. Puzzle completed. So what happens? You suffer, you complete drawing the symbols in your blood. Suffer 1 face-down damage. A strange force infests the statue. Discard this interact token. So he takes some face-down damage, giving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. We get rid of that. Alright. Let's try Kate next. Because I'd like to put off dealing with those monsters until the last possible minute. Alright, here's Kate. She is going to move first. She moves 1, takes a face-down damage, which is actually 6. So that's her maximum. So we discard all of her face-down damage, which is all of it, at least. And she also becomes wounded. So she can't perform another move action. She can still finish move action she's got. Oh yes, we should have gotten rid of the dazed condition last turn. Not that it matters. No clues. So the rest of her move, and then she is going to have a go with her statuette. Oh yes, once again, we will place a statue. Yes, same description. She's going to get to try to solve the puzzle using her lure is 4, and she's holding oh, I just realized something. The statuette counts as evidence. So Preston would have gotten another go at the puzzle. I solved it again. So he actually did solve the puzzle on his first action. So let's go back over to Preston for a moment and give him a second action. Because yes, Preston was holding 2 statuettes. He discarded 1 to actually activate the interact token, but he still had 1 more on him, and it does say evidence. So yes, that last guess I did would have been used up. Yeah. The statuette gave him that 3rd guess, so he did in fact do it in 1 go, which means he gets a second action. So we're going to have him go 1, 2, and if we had an extra turn, he could then, in his following turn, take the shortcut into the lounge, take lots of fire damage, eventually get himself wounded. and then go down and do the last token. All right, Fix Preston's turn. Back to Kate, and she's going to try to do her puzzle. Right, Kate solving the puzzle. She has 4 lore, and she is holding 2 bits of evidence. She would have 3 if she could use the grotesque statue, but she discards it to do this in the first place. So she actually gets 6 goes at this. And yes, it's very much the same puzzle. Well, go ahead with that guess. Okay, again, one of them is correct. So we'll do red, white, green. Okay, red and white. It will actually be white and red because we know they're correct. They're just in the wrong place. So we'll add a yellow on the end, which means it has to be white, red, blue. Oh, I wasn't paying attention there. That's weird. Oh, that means the green is correct. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm trying to make sense of this. Let me think for a moment. Okay, I figured out why my thinking was wrong. I forgot you can have the same symbol more than once. However, I am now pretty confident that the white is correct. Oh, we know all 3 of these. No, it still doesn't make any sense given the previous ones, so it must be blue and red. Okay, I have to think more. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not making sense to me. I think I must have pressed different buttons than I thought I had. So we're going to go with that as our guess. Now, what horrible thing does Kate suffer? Yep, same thing, 1 face down damage. And get rid of that interact token. And that just leaves Bob. Poor, hapless Bob. Well, see, he's got to try to avoid 2 monsters, one of them very large, to get to his interact token. And even then, he's not going to get to do it. Yeah, he's not going to reach that token this turn. Oh well, we'll see what he can pull off. Alright, once again, Bob is going to try to evade the Bayaki so that he can move 1 space. And assuming he pulls that off, he's then going to have to try to evade the Dark Young to move 1 more space. Oh, Bayaki, evade, confirm. The Bayaki releases a horrifying shriek that shakes your senses. You cover your ears as you flee, suffer 1 face down horror, and become dazed. But it seems like we still get to move. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horror. He has 1 sanity left. He becomes dazed. Again, we have nobody has any clues, so it doesn't matter. I must remember he's focused for this next bit, just in case. Oh yeah, there he is. Lovely. So thing sort of towers over him. So now, let's see what happens when we try to evade a Dark Young. The creature's hooves are placed far enough apart that you think you could dive between them to safety. Agility check. 2 success. Agility is down to 2 because of the ruptured eardrum. Nope. No hope. If you fail, One massive hoof connects with your chest, knocking you back. Suffer 3 face-down damage. 1, 2, 3. I suspect it will not matter because I'm pretty sure the Dark Young is getting away during one final dreaded mythos phase. Alright, here we go. Yes, fire spreads. I'm actually almost out of fire tokens. A little bit more fire out by the pond. Choking smoke rolls off the flames, engulfing you. This mythos event affects each investigator in a space containing fire. None of us is actually currently in a space. We're in rooms with fire, but not spaces. So no effect. A droning chant comes from the door. Spawn a dark druid, as indicated. Silly druid, you really don't need to do anything. Okay, rather pointlessly, we have a dark druid appear. Clad in dark robes, these pagan priests are mortal men driven to unnatural practices. There's a right here in the doorway where he's about to get stomped by the Dark Young on its way out. Oh, are you sure this is the right place? Another person whispers just behind the first. Spawn a child of the goat, as indicated. But yes, we were going to get badly swarmed. The child of the goat is back. We saw one of those earlier. Now, the Dark Young moves 1 space toward the exit. Boom. Then, if it's not in the same space as the exit, it attacks each investigator within range. That is not so. All right. No investigators within range. The Dark Young moves 1 additional space toward the exit. Oh, wait. He doesn't get out yet. We have possibly 1 more turn. Except Bob's going to not be of much use. Oh, we're going to be so close. The Bayaki moves 3 spaces towards the investigator within range who has suffered the most damage. That would be Bob. And it attacks him. The Bayaki circles you with predatory menace, diving when you least expect it. Observation. We need 2 success. His observation is 4. He got that. He's also focused, so he could have possibly... Anyway, if you pass, you manage to time your dodge just right. Then the Dark Druid moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator. That's going to be Bob, because he's 1 space closer than Kate is. Alright, 1, 2... we really need Bob to be able to pull this off. Then it attacks the investigator in space with the lowest agility. Yeah, Bob. Monster attacks. Moving faster than you anticipated, the druid exhales an oily smoke inches from your face. Test will. 2 success needed. He's still rolling 5. Okay, he's failed. Using focus wouldn't help because it would only give him 1 success. If you fail, you gasp, drawing the substance deep into your lungs and immediately start to convulse with shooting pains. Suffer 2 face-down damage, which is going to wound him. Yes. And become stunned. stunned, I think, just messed us up because Bob will not be able to, and you know what? I think he's eliminated anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 7. He has reached his damage maximum a second time. So he is out, dropping all of his things in this space. Yep, Bob is gone. Now the child of the goat moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator. That is now Kate. 1, 2. Then it attacks the investigator in its space with the least horror. There is no investigator in the space. So that is it. Which leaves Kate performing a horror check with the child of the goat. Resolve a horror check. Your foe whispers a message only you can hear. Your friends seek to slay you. No. At this point, she's not going to buy that. Maybe that's why she only needs 1 success on her will check. Yeah, she disbelieved it strongly. If you pass, you scoff at the ridiculous claim. Indeed. And that will end that. We do one last investigator phase, which is not quite going to do it for us, but we'll soldier on nonetheless. First up, we will do Preston. I just realized Preston is not quite going to make it to where he needs to anyway. First thing he would do would be move. We use the secret passage to move here. He gets hurt because of the fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Takes a face down damage, giving him 7 damage total. Move once more. He'll take an 8th face down. Well, a face down damage which gives him 8 damage. Which means, guess what? He is now wounded. Although he still has the broken arm. And being wounded, of course, he cannot perform another move action. So that is that. He could perform a second action and try to look at the painting, which is, it's a miracle it's still around, given the huge amount of flames all around it. Well, just for the heck of it, yeah, let's do that. Just to squeeze a tiny bit more flavor out of it. He'll take a face down damage for doing a non-move action in that space. Let's see what it says. Yes, a large portrait of the victim hangs over a table. The framed pictures document rare moments in the deceased's life from boyhood to adulthood. You notice the deceased is missing his right arm below the elbow, but something else seems strange about the photos. So yes, Preston, while everything is just, all the flames are raging around him, probably lying on the floor at this point, falling over after being wounded, gazing up at the picture. I'm going to test his observation. He got 2. Oh look, more evidence. He realized 2 things at once. First, that the deceased has been missing his right arm below the elbow since he was a toddler. and second, that his parents became conspicuously absent by his teenage years. By then, he appears to be wearing an amulet, the same amulet his mother wears in the photos from his childhood. The painted portrait of him in his older years also has the amulet rendered in loving detail. The amulet depicts a strange, malformed tree. A raised detail in the shape of a star has been added to the amulet in later photos. So yeah, that would be the cult sigil we picked up at one point. He would get the photographic evidence. I'm not going to worry about it. Meanwhile, I think Kate has just had enough, is going to sit down and just forfeit her turn because there is nothing left to be done. So let's do one last really, really tiny mythos phase in which the Dark Young is about to get out. All right, one last go. Yes, the fire spreads. It will continue spreading outdoors in the pond. Out of sight, a strange buzzing machine comes to life to carry out its dark purpose. Each investigator flips one damage and one horror face up, then becomes dazed. I don't think I'm going to bother doing that, because this is about to happen. Right, the Dark Young moves one space towards the exit. Doesn't need to. He's there. So the monster is in the space with the exit. With a single blow, the creature destroys the splintering door and breaks the binding. The investigation is not complete. Zoomed out because I think we are about to get... Yikes.
The horror bursts from the house and out into the streets of Arkham. Screams echo through the early morning air. You stumble out in the dim light, but the horror, finally free, moves faster than you can manage to follow. Only death and destruction remains when it passes. An alien presence seems to stand beside you, a heavy aura of disappointment and sorrow seeping into you. The horror's assault on Arkham lasts for days. And try as you might, you cannot help but feel responsible for the city's mounting death toll.
So yes, technically the game should have ended at the end of the investigator phase because we had lost an investigator, but I figured it was mere moments until we had a proper dramatic bad ending rather than just sort of fizzling out. Well, we were close. Closer than I thought we'd get. We were actually halfway through the ritual. Don't mind so much losing at this stage because at least we got a nice full story out of the entire thing. We basically figured out what was going on. Our victim was very foolishly playing around with magic, and this thing came through, and then decided to go on a rampage. Well, I hope, despite the close, it was a very close thing. Hope, despite the loss, everybody enjoyed watching it. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to everybody for subscribing. Thanks for liking the videos, both on YouTube and Board Game Geek. And I will see you next time when we start yet another board game playthrough. Possibly one a little less chaotic than this. So long.